Hey guys, hope y'all are doing great today. Got a little rainy day here today. I don't know if you can see the rain coming down. Probably hear it on my umbrella. Hope y'all been doing well. This video will be about the first one. It'll be about a month since my last video that I made, and kind of just with all the holidays recently and some family events and vacations, was out of town a little bit and kind of busy on the weekends, so I've decided to probably start doing these videos monthly anyway, and so I'll be doing a video each month, probably eventually starting it near the beginning of each month going forward, and really excited about that. I feel like kind of be a little bit more doable, and I can feel like I can kind of make the videos a little more in-depth and kind of see more change to each month, so that should be really exciting. And I think I'm going to go back also to kind of filming kind of the whole walkthrough, so you can kind of get that feel where you kind of seeing everything and kind of also the layout to everything. I liked the other way of doing the videos recently, but I kind of feel like the kind of walking through gives you that kind of sense of, like you're here and you can see kind of what's everything going on and kind of how it all connects to each other as well. So got these beds right here with the fruit trees, and you can see that they look a little bit different than last time probably. And let's see, you can kind of go down to ground level right here. They are quite a bit taller than they were originally, and what I did is I dug out the soil right down there, and it was already dug out a little bit, but I added quite a bit, probably doubled the height of it, to add additional soil around these trees. And the reason I did that is to most of these trees were, the graft union was about at ground level, so I'll try to hold this umbrella and this camera and not get it too messy. Oh, there we go. Okay, and so like if you're looking at these trees, the graft union, when I first started them, so it wouldn't be currently, but when I planted them, most of the graft unions are right there at, say, ground level, like for that tree right there, and which now, with it being adding more soil, the graft union's probably under the soil probably at least about that far maybe, and so with adding that soil on top of the graft union, it will hopefully encourage this part of the tree, is the actual main variety, where the rootstock, starts right down here and goes down. Well, I'd like for the main variety to send out its own roots, in this area right here, and then eventually, hopefully, the rootstock can be cut off and removed down there once I transplant these trees this fall to their final home. And so hopefully that'll turn out good, and they'll put down lots of good roots. The other thing you can probably see that looks a lot different is that there definitely isn't as much growing around them, which was the downside definitely of doing this, and it had a lot of downsides actually, so I'm trying to figure out how to avoid it in the future. Not only was it a ton of work, and I think it was like 95 degrees that day and like 95% humidity, so it was very, very hard labor in the heat. And today it's crazy, it's like 55 or 60 degrees almost, at least it was this morning, and chilly with the rain and wind, so it's crazy how it just jumps back and forth like that, but that's just how the weather goes here. It's kind of nice, get a little change, but catch you off guard too when it was 90 degrees the day before and 55 or 60 is the high the next day. So it's probably a little warmer than that today, but it kind of feels like that with the wind and rain. I'm getting wet. I've got a 2-foot umbrella instead of a 4-foot wide umbrella, but that's a different story. But these trees right here, you can see when I removed all the growth, or I not removed it, but I actually just added, the soil was actually just on top of all that plants. I had slightly just cut it back previously, like a week before that maybe, to get the growth off of the trees just a little bit and kind of push it down into the walkways just so the trees got a little bit more sunlight, but still leaving that growth, just because I think that it develops the soil, it provides shade for the soil, and as the plant dies, it's naturally mulching itself, super low maintenance, and creating extremely fertile soil is how I've done this area right here for a long time. I'm afraid that with adding all this soil in the middle of summer, or kind of, I guess technically we're about to technically start summer, but with our having our 90-degree days here, and the heat, and kind of a rare rain is kind of rare starting during this time of year. We get mostly thunder showers, so the grass tends to definitely be the dominant thing that will seed out this bed, whereas previously it was there's some of my blueberry eaters back there, neighbor's pool. Oh, they're over there snacking on some blueberries right now. The robins are, these robins are probably some of the healthiest birds around. They're just, see that one right there in that bush on the right? Oh, there he goes. There's another one in that bush to the left beside it. He's up there. He goes, or she goes. But we'll head over to the blueberries soon and check them out. They're really starting to put off a lot, and so the grass, you can see it's right there. It's really starting to come up, and it's the main thing that'll probably be establishing, which is okay, but it's not ideal. I would much rather leave that kind of. You can see there's kind of the remainder of how it looked beforehand, and just generally those plants are going to be less aggressive, and kind of a more beneficial cover, in my opinion. And a lot of them, were about to fade out anyway, and it probably switch into some grass or other things growing. But oh well, enough of that. But yeah, too bad. It kind of added the dirt on, and it's probably going to fill in with some grass. And another downside is, it kind of opened everything up to things that would like to snack on these trees. As you can see, the pear trees, it doesn't look like there's anything there, but actually there is. Let's see if I can get in here a little closer. So you can see that, let's see. If you see all the sticks for the stems for the pears are still there, but looks like they got completely trimmed back for all the leaves, and pretty sure some rabbits got in there, and I had quite a few baby bunnies that I've been seeing around here, so I'm pretty sure they're the ones that got in there and went to snacking on them. So we'll see how if I can keep them out this time. When I redug the soil from the bottom and added it on to the top, it had a few gaps around the bottom when I put the fence back, and I'm pretty sure they snuck under it, and I've since then gone back and added more soil around it to kind of seal them out, hopefully. But I don't think it's really going to hurt the trees too bad. They seem to be, see if I can, you can see these ones right here that they didn't chew the tops off of are already starting to grow back. Some of them they did chew the tops off of, like that's one right there, but you can see, if you can see that there's a little bit of green growth that's starting to push out of the top. And same thing with the other trees, they are having growth starting to come back on them already too, so I think it'll recover pretty quickly, and still looking good. And it may actually reduce the height of the trees a little bit, so when I do transplant them, it won't be so hard to move them, because these trees, by the way they're growing, these apple trees may be like 6 feet tall by the end of the year. So I kind of like to plant trees when they're more, really within the 1 to 2 foot range is my ideal preference. These trees have just been growing like crazy. I think they've really been enjoying the soil and the healthy organic matter that was all in it. But it's probably going to change a little bit with the grass coming in, but I think it'll still thicken up, and I think they'll still do good there. But yep, so what I'm thinking about doing to switch over from how they were being done previously was to keep the scion wood basically that's full length, and So like if if you graft with a 1 foot long scion, which is the basically the part of the tree that grows up from the bottom and turns into the part that makes all the branches basically in the fruit, and so by leaving that 1 foot long, I can bury about 8 inches of it and leave about 4 inches of it above the soil to grow up from there. And with the 8 inches below the soil already, hopefully that will root by itself, and would not have to be any soil added later, which would save what basically when I did this. And I think this will still work out, but going forward I think I can improve on that and make it a lot better for the plants and for my muscles that hurt the next day really bad. So yeah, really excited to see how these trees are doing. Have a little bit of changing though how I'd like to do it going forward. The downside to that is you get less trees, because if you use the full scion wood, you're only grafting, or if you're grafting a foot of the scion wood, you're using that all to create one tree, instead of where you could basically cut it possibly even 4 times in basically 3-inch sections to create 4 separate new trees with 4 rootstock. But also it's kind of nice too, you're not having to graft as much, but you get fewer trees. But in my opinion, it's really worth it that the trees are going to be on their own roots, which I found is seems to be very helpful here. And really excited to see how these are going to turn out and get these. Hopefully they'll kind of fill in with some growth soon and keep the little bunnies out, and have some good apple trees and pear trees to plant this fall into the food forest that's developing. Thanks for tuning in to part 1, guys. I'll see you in part 2.